Hey y'all, what's good? I want to share, I guess, so this video is intended as, I guess, a couple of things. One, mental health. Mental health awareness, I think, something that, especially for people who are engaged in athletics, athletes, those who compete, something that is not spoken enough about. And a recent, I guess, realization that I've had is there is a thing called post-race depression or post-competition blues. It's a real thing. Um, it's one of those moments where it's like, I mean, there's a number of factors, right? So I guess let me take a step back. Coming out of competition, the Jiu-Jitsu World League, it's one of those things where leading up to the tournament itself, I had been working on a project for work about 10 days back to back and working like 12 to 16-hour days. And now the competition itself is on a Saturday. The project I was working on concluded, at least the phase that I was involved in, concluded on Wednesday night. And so Thursday and Friday, there was some furniture moving stuff that I needed to do. And a good chunk of basically my entire afternoon and evening and my Friday morning just went into moving furniture. And essentially on Friday, I was out of the house from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so I didn't get home till midnight. Now, come Saturday morning is the competition. And so competition comes in and it's early morning. My kid, who is training in jiu-jitsu as well, his turn is up. And so we have to get there early. So we're up. We're walking into the Epic Center, which is where the Jiu-Jitsu World League tournament in Houston was being held, and we're watching the sunrise as we're walking in. That's how early it was. So we get checked in. His competition happens at 9 a.m. We're concluded. We get out. We figure let's go get some breakfast, and then we get home. It's like 11, 12-ish. I am cooked. I am done, and so I'm like, I need to take a nap. I go to bed. And I woken up around 2:30-ish. My wife is like, hey, don't you got a competition? And so we all get in the car. We drive over back to the Epic Center. And I'm in a haze, right? I'm tired, but I'm there. And so, all right, let's fight. And so I thought I did well for about 90 seconds. And next thing I know, I'm being cross-faced. And and I held off before the timer ran out, but I lost I had 2, he had 8 or 10 points, something like that. It turns out I was actually surprised I only had 2 points. Turns out that anytime I was trying to lock down a position, I didn't even get a full 2 seconds to hold it, whether it was me taking his back or getting to the mount or whatever it was. I wasn't able to secure and control that position for even 2 seconds. And so I didn't get any of those points, which is fine. Now, coming out of that first match, I felt like my head was just going to implode, like my eyeballs were being sucked into the head. And by the time the second match comes around, I really don't know where I am. And so all I remember is through both matches, I couldn't even hear my coaches. It's just all I could hear with crystal clarity, like there's an earpiece in my head, what the other team's coach is saying in terms of what I'm trying to do and the opportunities that they should look forward to. I'm like, yo, well, where are my tips? And so that was a weird thing. Like I know, I play back the footage and I can see that they are saying things, but in the moment I just couldn't hear any of it. And so that was a little bit of a weird frustration. I don't know if that's something that is just a matter of working out what I need to do with my coaches, like pre-game plan in terms of how we're going to go about communicating. I would love your tips on that. Like what are some of your coaching competition tips, or coaching in competition tips for that? I'm all ears, because I feel like that's a communication factor that I could definitely benefit from. I would assume there needs to be some level of pre-game coaching collaboration, because the thing I noticed with my kid, with relation to the coaching that he had received, Um, he like the way that Professor Hector over at Gracie Barra Richmond, the way that he coaches the kids and the way he's talking to them, even in the competition training class, is exactly the way that he was talking to him during the competition itself. And my kid, thankfully, alhamdulillah, he came back with gold. He won both his matches. And so, and I think there's a major communication factor that is strategic in doing well in these competitions. Obviously, being well rested. One of the things that Professor Frank over at West Chase had shared was that the fact that I competed and the fact that I intend to compete is something that is commendable. And I appreciate those kind words. And one of the things he said was how there are many people who reach the level of black and they never compete. And so there is a difference. And now the real difference that I saw and I guess the coming out of all of this was today was my first day training, coming back on the mats after the competition. Competition ended on Saturday and today is Thursday night. And so, good 4 or 5 days, something like that, right? And so one thing that I realized during rolling is that everything seems like slow motion. It's like the way that we were rolling on the mats and during training felt like normal speed before, but now it just feels like slow motion. I think this is the key differentiator between the training that you get from competing versus just keeping it to the mats. And so, and the closest thing I can liken it to is the playing, going like so Call of Duty, transitioning from single player zombies to multiplayer online. It's like you go online for the first time. It's just like, yo, what is this 12-year-old that's just rocking me, right? And so it's the same kind of idea where competition just kind of felt like I'm going multiplayer online, and it is a different pace altogether, which is great because this is a pace that you can grow into. And so at least I intend to grow into it. Now, the thing with regards to the circling back to what I started with, the idea of mental health, I realized that post-competition blues are a real thing. And I feel like it hit me hard, right? Those few days after, like, I just kept dreaming about everything. And like, I was like, am I depressed? Like, what is this? What are these feelings? Like, I'm Googling, like, why am I sad after training or after competition? And I realized that several articles pop up, post-competition blues, right? Or post-running depression. And the reason for that is because you're so jacked up on adrenaline and just all the hormones and everything that come from, the coming into the competition and the stress of it all, and then getting off of that. It's just like you coming down from that, I guess, high level of cortisol and stress and everything. And so it just results in a depressive state. And so it's one of those things that should be, I feel like there needs to be awareness about it. It was weird because for me, it was just like, there's every little thing was just triggering to me, like in an odd way, in the sense of like several years back, my wife and I, we had a miscarriage. And so I was watching this cop show called The Rookie on Hulu. And there was this episode where I'm just sitting there in the living room by myself. My wife had gone to pick up my kid from school, and my other kid was napping. And so I'm just sitting there by myself watching The Rookie, and there's this episode where this lady lost her kid, and I guess in her delusion, she kidnaps a kid from the hospital, and then they find her, and she's hanging off of a bridge, and they finally talk her down, and she comes to the realization the kid that she's not holding is not her kid, right? And this whole time she thought it was her baby, but it was somebody else's baby. And then she comes to the realization, like, my baby died, and I'm bawling like my baby died too. And so it was like, in that moment, I was just like, what is happening? Like, what is wrong with me? What is happening to me? And that's when I was like, am I depressed? I think I'm depressed. And I remember my wife coming home like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I think so. I'm just sad. I saw a sad episode on TV and I cried. And but then I coming to the realization that post competition blues are a real thing. And so I just wanted to share that, and just want to share the fact that, hey, it's if you're going to compete, just know that as a thing, be prepared for it. And make sure you have a support group, right? Like, I know for me, it's like, thankfully I've got friends I can talk to. I can share my experiences. I know other people who have gone through like experiences, even just everything that I just shared here, I've shared with a few other people. One of the coaches I was talking to earlier, I was asking him, I was like, hey, because one of the things I was admiring about the fact that he spent the day coaching in the entire day at Jiu-Jitsu World League. And then he competed in the Nogi and he won gold. And I'm like, yo, like, I gotta ask, like, how, like, what was that like? He's like, oh, it sucked. It's like, it was terrible. Understandably, it was challenging. And he's like, and for him, he had one guy in his bracket and it was best 2 out of 3, and he won 2, and so he got gold. And so, but like I was sharing with him this whole like post-competition blues and this like the depressive state, and he's like, yeah, man, that stuff is real. And it's like, he's like, I see that with a lot of fighters. And so, and he's like, and one of the ways that you can also address it is compete more. You got to play more. It's the same idea of like getting in on the, when you go multiplayer from single player in Call of Duty, like, how do you get better? You play more. And so hopefully I'll be joining in on more of these tournaments that are coming up in Houston before the end of the year. From what I recall, there's Naga happening in October. There's another Jiu-Jitsu World League in November. And if I'm not mistaken, there might be a IBJJF in December or January or something like that. So I'm gonna mark those on my calendar, get myself a spot and compete. Win or lose, doesn't matter. At least now, I guess in a way, I found a new high to chase. So anyways, if you have any advice or tips with relation to competition, competing better, and doing it in a way that is healthy, both for the mind and the heart, as well as for the body, stay strong and recover, I'm all ears. Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you soon.